Hello everyone, welcome to Meal Life Studies. In this video, we are going to solve one more SQL interview problem that was asked in one of DBA's interview recently. This is a little bit different from all the problems that we have solved before in data analyst or data engineer interviews. It is given an employees table has a single column as information, and we have to convert that into a proper table with employee ID, name, department ID, and department names as different columns. Okay, and this is the given table having only a single column like information, under which we have different data as given. And if you observe, it is given 101, 102, 103, and 104, and then Mahindra, Vishal, Usha, and Das. So if you observe, it is given a 4 employee names. So assume these are the employee names, right? So if you're not able to understand that also, no problem. Here you can say data engineer is the role. It's not an employee name, right? This is also role, and this is also role, and this is also role, right? So other than these string type of data, remaining all will be considering as employee names. Okay. And if you observe 101, 102, 103, and 104 will be considering as employees. And the remaining all this data like 400, 700, 800, and okay, 500. So these are will be considering as department IDs. Okay, so now, so how we can solve this problem? I mean, we have to convert this table like a single column into multiple columns like employee IDs, name, age, sorry, not age, department ID, and department names. Okay, so we can solve this with the help of conditional statements, right? So that we can convert a single column into multiple columns, right? So let's do that. And also, interviewers mentioned that you need not to worry about any particular employee should be in a particular department or something. So just ignore any other condition just to convert this table into proper employee table having different columns as mentioned before. Okay, so let's do it now. So first you need to understand it is given a single column in a given table having this is a data, right? So what is this data? Is that an integer or varchar? You should understand, right? So if you mention this as an integer, but you cannot accommodate this string type of data, right? So if you can adjust this data type as varchar, so that you can also adjust this type of data also, right? So this will be considering a string type of data only. So now if you go and check this database like Mean Life Studies, and this table, that is employees table, if you observe in this employees table, we have only one column, that is information column, and the data type has mentioned as varchar of 30. Okay, so you need to understand that this is a string type of data, right? I mean, this column is entire is a string type of data. Now we have to convert it. Let's do it now. So first, how we can do that? Select. First, we are going to start conditional statements. So how we can do that? So let's see case when information. Okay, so now if you observe, we are just considering employee IDs. So how these IDs are, is there any other patterns? So 101, 102, 103, and 104. So this is the only simple, right? Simple in the sense, only we have only small data. So when you have large amount of data, there could be a certain patterns will be there. Okay, it could be starting from 101, I mean 100. Likewise, there is a certain pattern will be there. Now for now, we are just considering only these 4 are the IDs. Okay, so let's see information in, we are just mentioning 101, 102, 103, and 104, right? So then what we have to do, we have to return information. That is the same column name, right? Information. Else, we are going to return null. Okay, and we have to end this one, right? So now this is from the given table, that is employees table. Now if I try to execute this one, let's see how it's going to return. You can see here it's returning error. Why? Because here you need to understand this information column is entirely varchar type. I already shown you, right? So now these are the integer types we have mentioned, right? So now we are going to change these things into string type of data. Let's see. We are just changing them into string type of data. Okay, so let's execute this one again. You can see now. So we'll be getting data, right? So, but these 101, 102, 103, and 104, these are the employee IDs, right? But those still in a string type of data, right? But we should not have a string type of data, right? So even, of course, you can have. So even if you want to change, you can also change this by typecasting it. So just convert that cast of information as integer. If you want, you can do it. Otherwise, just ignore it. No problem. Okay. Cast of this one, and then else we are just returning null values. Okay, now if I try to return, now you can see, now this one is changed to integer types now onwards. Okay, so same thing we have to convert for the remaining all data. This is for just an employee ID, right? Now we have to convert this one. I mean Mahindra, Vishal, Usha, and does, right? So we have to convert that into another column. So before that, it's preferred to use, to extract first department, because if you ensure that this particular data is, department names, and the remaining all will be considered as employee name, right? Because those are in string type of data, right? So especially if you have not considered these things, let's do that now. So otherwise, first you can also return one more, that is departments, comma. You have to use comma here, and then here we are returning case when information, that is a given column, in. So what are the remaining? That is 400. Next one, 500. So this is a string type of data also, right? 500. Next, 700. And then 800, right? Then what we have to do, same thing. We are just casting it into integer type as integer, else we are just returning as null and as here. So even if you want to give any name for this one, you can just mention employee ID here as employee name. Okay, so just execute this one. Now if I try to execute this entire, that's going to return one more column, that is employee name. Now if you observe what it is returning, sorry, it is a department name. No, sorry. This is a department ID, DEPT underscore ID, not employee name. Now, if I execute this one, you can see here. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the employee IDs, and department IDs are 400, 500, 700, and 800. These are the department ID. Okay. So what else we have? We have departments and the employee names are there, right? So comma. Next one, case when information in what are the departments we have? Let's go and check this table. Data engineer, data analyst, ML engineer, and these are the roles, right? So just consider them as the department names also. Okay. So let's see. Remember, so how these names are giving data space engineer, data analyst, there is a space, but here ML engineer, there is no space. Okay. If you provide any space, that's going to giving a different, that's going to give you a different data. Okay. So just ensure that whatever the names that you have mentioned here, keep it as it is. Okay. So now trying to return one more column, that is case when information in data engineer, data analyst, and then remaining all, okay, ML engineer, and one more data scientist, right? So if the information in this data, then we have to return information, else we are going to return null, and we have to end this. Okay. So now if I try to execute this one, so even if you want to return any particular name for this one, just mention this as department underscore name. Okay. Now if I try to execute, that's going to return one more column, that is department names. Okay. Data engineer, data analyst, ML engineer, and data scientist. Okay. So what else we have? That is one more column is remind this, that is employee names, right? So now we are just returning case when information not in this list, right? This list in the sense not in the department list. We are just considering not in, and also if you observe, let's check the employee names. So what else we have? So if not, since they should be a not data, right? And also these are not including them. So let's see now. We'll change that. Okay. And also information not. Okay. So let's see like data. So you can just mention percentage symbol and R. Otherwise, you can also mention only like, so like just consider the employee names. What are these? Mahindra, Vishal, Usha, and Das. So if you observe, there should be a certain pattern will be there. So A is there, and A is here, A is here, and A is here. So in each and every employee name, there is A, right? A letter is there. Now I'm just mentioning like here, A, like this. So that, so is there any A letter will be there in any information that's going to considering as this one, and also this not in this particular. Okay. So let's do it now. Else null, and you have to end this as employee name. Okay. Now if I try to return, execute this entire, you can see where is the error. Okay. So if this is so, then we have to return, right? So then information, we have to return information, and then else null, and we have to end this as employee name. Now, if I execute this enter, now if you observe, we have returned a different columns, right? So it's given only a single column, like all information are in a single column, like information, and we converted that into multiple columns. You can see now multiple columns we have converted. Now, if you observe, Mahendra is there, Vishal, Usha, and Das. 4 employees. Here, 4 departments, 4 department IDs and 4 employee IDs. Now, how we can do that? So, how we can ignore all these null values and we can ensure that 101 is there, 400, and like employee IDs 101, department 400, data engineer, and that should be a Mahendra. Likewise, we need to return proper table, okay, without these things. So, let's do it. Now, I'm just considering this entire table as one CTE, common table expression. Now let's do that. Now with CTE as this entire, I'm just closing here. Select star from CTE, you'll be getting the same data, right? Now you can see you'll be getting the same data. Right. Now for that, let's see, we'll be taking select. First, we'll be taking all employee IDs, ignoring all null values, and then department IDs, ignoring all null values. Similarly, we'll be doing the same thing for all. So we'll be storing all this into intermediate cities. Let's see now. So EMP underscore IDs as select employee ID. So for that, you can see now, I'm just taking distinct. So there is no common, okay, no problem. Even if you're not taking also, let's see now, employee ID from city where employee ID is not now. Okay. Now, if I try to return select star from EMP IDs, that's going to return only employee IDs only, right? You can see here. So when you have multiple people, here is the only distinct, I mean, distinct numbers are there. When you have multiple, prefer to use distinct because so multiple people will be coming in the same, right? Same department. So that's where we'll be getting some difficulty. Okay. So here is the no problem. But now let's see the same thing we'll be doing for remaining all. Now, comma, okay, EMPS employee names as select employee underscore name from CTE where employee underscore name is not null. Okay, same thing for department IDs as select DEPT ID from CTE where EMP underscore name is not null, comma. So try to understand how we are giving subcities, right? So for each, we are providing different subcities. Next one, department underscore names as select department underscore. Ensure that you will be using a proper column names, whatever you have mentioned. Okay. So here is the employee name and department underscore name only, right? So department underscore name from CD where department underscore name is not null. Okay. So now if you observe, there is a problem here. Here is a not employee name. This is DEPT underscore ID. Okay. So let's see now. So if I try to return department underscore names, that's going to return all department names, right? Let's execute from the beginning because we have used that, right? So let's execute this one. You can see here invalid column in department ID. Where is that? Department ID. So let's check now what is that column name that we have given. So you can see here DEP it is, right? So we have given proper DEPT ID. Okay. So let's execute this one again. Now you can see here, it's returning department name under which we have different columns. So same thing if you want to return department DEPT underscore IDs, that's going to return all department IDs. You can see now. So let's return all department. Let's start with employee IDs, EMP IDs. That is one subsidy, right? Next one, employee names. Another subsidy, DEPT underscore IDs. And then finally, department underscore names. So these all are different subsidies, right? So we are just returning all data. Okay, now you can see here, it will be like a Cartesian, right? So that's why it will be getting a lot of data. So how we can avoid these things? So by having a commonality, right? So there should be a one common column, and with help of that particular column, we are going to join them, right? So let's do it now. So in order to have one more common column, we are just extracting one more column as row number by using window function, that is one of window function, that is row number over order by employee underscore id, okay, as rn from this table. Now same thing we are going to use, returning one more common column in here also, row number over order by. So if interviewers mention any particular order or any particular condition, you have to be very careful here, okay. Yes, rn. Here also you can return one more column, that is row number over order by dpt id as rn. And then finally we have department, right? Department name, row number over order by department underscore name as rn. Okay. So now if I try to return any of them, let's see now. So now again we'll be getting the same data, but we'll be getting one more column, that is rn, right? So row number is not recognized. Where is that error? Here. Okay, spelling mistake. Now if I execute this entire, you can see now we'll be getting one more column, that is rn, right? So for each we'll be getting all these things. Now we are going to join them on the basis of common, right? So let's do that. So let's see where from first city, that is emp ids dot rn equal to emp underscore names dot rn, so that this one will be joining with only one, that is das. You can see das is for only one, and the next one two will be joining with only this one Mahendra, right? Let's see now if I try to execute this one. You can see now, but still we'll be getting more records, right? So let's see how we can do that. So we have to use for remaining all the right. So and what else? Next one, emp underscore ids dot rn equal to dept underscore ids dot rn. You can see now. So if I try to execute this one again, you can see here we are getting 16 records, right? But still we'll be getting more records. But now there is one more. So we can join again on dept underscore ids dot rn equal to. So you can also join individually also by considering different tables, no problem. But I'm just using equijoins, okay? You can also use normal inner joins also, no problem. dept, okay, sorry, department name, right? Department underscore names dot rn, okay? Now if I try to execute this entire, you can see now. So how we are getting? So we are getting employee IDs because we are joining this employee ID. This is one subsidy, right? EMP IDs. We joining with this one, again this one with this one. I mean this employee IDs and this one with this one. So that we'll be getting all proper table. Okay, we'll be joining on the base. So I mean here also we'll be using inner join only. Only as and when those values are equal, then only those values will be joined, right? So now if you observe, we'll be getting 4 columns other than this RN. Right. So in order to exclude that, you can just ignore it by returning whatever the columns you want. Employee ID. Okay. So otherwise you can also return, okay, employee ID will return, employee name will be written, department ID and department underscore name will be written. Okay. Now if I try to return, execute this entire, you can see now. So it's going to return only employee IDs, names, department and department names as written. Okay. So if you observe 1012, 104, and these are the employee names and these are the department IDs and these are the department names. Okay. I hope you understood. So even if you are confusing here, then you can just consider individually, no problem. Okay. If you just consider, select star from employee underscore IDs, join employee underscore names on emp underscore ids dot rn equal to emp underscore names dot rn. Now you can see you'll be getting the same. Likewise, you have to join one by one for the remaining tables also. You can see now. Okay. So this is how you can just try to execute all one by one. So let's execute this one. You can see still you will be getting, right? So I hope you understood. Thank you.